Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. Let's make a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Harley Quinn Season 5, Episode 5. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, it's actually interesting because we're kind of going back to the whole thing of like, I guess when Ivy has so much that she's always got going on, Harley's trying to figure out what her thing is. Whether it was Ivy and her plans in season 3 and Harley kind of going along with it to support her as a girlfriend. Then like in season 4, Ivy's doing the whole thing with the Legion of Doom and Harley's with the Bat family. And now it's like, well, Ivy's doing all that stuff, you know, and it's like at the college and stuff, which I'm like, I don't know whether that really stands post like killing that professor that she had a relationship. Like, I don't know the Floronic Man? Was that home dude's name? I'm blanking on the character's name now. But I'm like, post all that, like, does she still really have a job there and stuff? Like, we haven't really cut back to that. That was episode 3, and then stuff kind of popped off, you know, with episode 4 with the whole Brainiac of it all. But either way, when it's all said and done, like Harley is always kind of looking for that new thing because now it's like, oh, I'm sprucing our place up, I'm cleaning like crazy, and she's always finding something to put her energy forth because she needs to find something to kind of occupy her time and space, and obviously get stuck, you know, babysitting this episode with Sean, which I guess he's going to be. I think it's interesting that he ends up being the recurring child. Like all of them are kind of like baby kids level. Little hellions, but Sean seems to be the recurring one, especially because they made a whole point of like, you know, and I brought this up like earlier in the season. I'm curious, are we going to get to the point where like Ivy and Harley like try and aim for a child, whether it's like a in vitro situation or whether it's like a and like someone else is like one of them ends up being a surrogate, you know, mother has a baby, or like they get a surrogate mother, or they go through the adoption route. So I don't know. I kind of brought that up earlier in the season with the whole King Shark's kids, but I don't know if that's still going to flow or not. But yeah, I get stuck babysitting, and Sean is such a menace. He destroys their shower head, which Harley got for like masturbation purposes, and it was so great, so amazing. She got it illegally off the black market and stuff because you can't like. I think there was something about like what type of energy it uses or something about it like wasn't really like above board. So either way, when it's all said and done, they also get invited to a party by Bruce. And I do love that Harley brings up like hopefully it's no orgies, and I was like, well, to be fair, it's like you went to the whole quarter vow situation, and that ended up being a massive like cult orgy thing. So I was like, understandable why you kind of had to put that on a big no-no list. And like you had to even kind of broach that. And I love that it's not many people, because some people bail because it's like because Bruce owns the building they live in, but he's not the manager or landlord person. It's he isn't the one who manages it. It's actually Alfred. So it's like you want your masturbation, I'm saying the word wrong, sorry, masturbation shower head fix, you're gonna have to go to Alfred at the party to get it. It's like, oh, but isn't he in jail? It's like, oh, don't worry, I got him like temporary like leave or whatever. He's out on bail or whatever for this, because it's like it's a party, so I got him out for a little bit. He just has to wear an ankle monitor. So some of the other places are owned by other people, but like the only people that show up is Joker, Sophia, because Sophia is taking an internship at Wayne Enterprises. Lois, because like Superman, like Superman got, or her or Clark or whatever got gifted a place by Bruce, so that's why they're there. So it's like, yeah, those are like the only other people. Lena doesn't show up. Damon is there, which I love. I said Damon. Damian is there, and he's like, oh, invite Raven out, and it was like, oh, Raven, interesting, because I only just found out about this. I don't remember what I was watching. Someone referenced Damien. I keep saying Damian and Raven having a relationship. Because obviously my immediate thought was like, and most people's, I think, immediate thought is, well, Beast Boy and Raven. That's the go-to couple because it's happened across. I mean, I think like a lot of people, like, it's because of the Teen Titans show, and obviously like Teen Titans Go leans into that. Even the Titans live action show leaned into that. Because I didn't even know like the Dick and Starfire thing was like very, the way someone else put that, maybe that's not a very modern thing. The way someone else talked about it, I was like, oh yeah, there's a very 80s thing. So I was like, is that something that's from the 80s that's constantly been used in the more modern takes of them? Like in adaptation wise, like maybe in the comics. Because I know like Dick and, obviously Dick and Barbara sometimes have relationships. But either way, I'm going on a tangent. But I thought that was so fascinating because like I said, I watched something recently that referenced like I keep doing it. Sorry, Damien and Raven. I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I mean, it's kind of, I was like, oh, I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's also interesting because it seems like they are going the Titans route in this continuity by making it so that Raven is on the younger side rather than being Teen Titans, because Dick has already been Nightwing in this continuity. Like when we get introduced to Dick, he's already Nightwing because our first Robin that we're introduced to in this continuity was Damien. So it's really interesting. Especially later on, it's like, oh, like, who are these people? It's like, oh, this is a picture of my first ward, Dick Grayson. Yeah, he was murdered. And then Harley thinks back to it. I immediately was like, wait, wasn't it Harley's clone that killed him? Because I remember she was doing some stuff behind Harley's back last season, but I was like, no, that was post Dick Grayson's death. So that was definitely Harley, like, with her confusion about everything about her status with the Bat family and just, kind of stuck between both worlds of villainy and heroism, especially when it came to her relationship with Ivy. But then they got to Jason, and then Joker was like, oh, who's that? He's like, oh, this is Jason Todd, my other person, Ward, was sadly murdered. And I was like, interesting. So I was like, so in this continuity, Joker didn't kill Jason. I was like, that's fascinating. He's still dead, but it wasn't him. And I was like, that's interesting. And we know Stephanie's around as Spoiler because Spoiler showed up, like she didn't have, I don't remember she had any dialogue, but she's in she makes like small appearance in like the first episode of Kite Man Hill. Yeah, so she's out and about as Spoiler. Because I was like, well, the Bat family is kind of shattered by the end of season 4 of Harley Quinn. So I was wondering, like, what does that mean for Spoiler out here doing her thing? Like, what did that mean? But it seems like, well, kind of I think that was just Spoiler off on her own. Because I had commented on like her and Kite Man. I had looked it up, like her and Kite Man are cousins. Which they didn't really dive into that in the show, but I would, like I said, that's something I'd looked up it. But either way, that just sends me on a whole diatribe because you're like, interesting, because, and someone can correct me, back in season 3 at the Villies, like the whole little cold opening that Joker did before they went to that whole dance number and song number, he was walking up to like a tied up Robin and he was going to bash his head in with a crowbar. And I was like, that was alluding to the Jason Todd thing. So I was like, interesting. So I was like, what the hell was that reference then? So I was like, did you know that Robin got brutally murdered? You just never, because he also doesn't seem to know who the Bat family is. So that's why I was like, because if he had anything to do with Jason's death, Bruce would have, reacted a little differently. So like, because I was like, because there was some stuff that happens later on, because he jokes about like, he makes some joke about, is Damien your Robin? If Alfred's the macaroni, Batman's like C-list sidekick, does that make him make him Robin? They're like, what are you talking about? I had to go like, wait, didn't Joker find out that Bruce was Batman in season 1? I was trying to remember. I was like, am I confusing that with another continuity? I swear there was some continuity where he did that, but I could have, and I remember it being animated, so I was like, I could swear it was Harley Quinn. To be fair, the tower crashed down on him and he got amnesia as we were reintroduced to him in season 2 with his new, his girlfriend and her children, his family and everything, and then eventually became the Joker again. But I'm like, did all his memories not come back? Maybe they had a plot point about that and I just don't remember, because I'm like, I could have sworn he had taken the mask off and found out that Bruce was Batman. And I thought he was kind of upset by that. Maybe I'm thinking, maybe it wasn't Joker. Maybe it was a different character that found out that Bruce was Batman and didn't know how to handle that information. I don't remember. I could have sworn it was Joker. So I was like, does he really not know the Bat family's identity? So either way, my point was like the whole like Jason getting murdered could have been like something that everyone in Gotham knew about. Like, oh man, God, Bruce is second Robin got like brutally bashed, like beat to death. So it's like it could have been, it definitely was in reference to that, but maybe like that's what all it was. It was like a criminal reference, but like Joker had nothing to actually do with it in this continuity. That's what this is implying with him not knowing who Jason was, and the fact is Bruce didn't flip out at Joker even having him there. It's like, well, yeah, that's your big bat, your baddie, and everything like that. Sure, but I don't know. I thought that was so interesting, especially like that whole dynamic is going to be really interesting too, considering like, well, Damien and Sophia get together. Like the moment Sophia found out him and Raven were done, she's like, yes. I was like, wait, do you like him? I was like, that's going to be weird where basically you guys are going to be pseudo like in-laws. I mean, once again, they're kids and they're potentially dating, which, they are by the end of the episode. But it's this kind of weird thing between, I was like, oh, that's going to be weird. Like you guys being kind of coupled together like that. What is that going to be like? Those family gets-togethers, because I'm sure it's only going to include Bruce. I'm sure Talia is not going to show up to those, because we don't know all that Talia is doing, because Damien didn't really talk about her. He just talked about how Bruce was absent from his life. It's like, well, the moment you got locked up, you kind of like left and abandoned me, and I was kind of just stuck with Mom. So, and now you all like, I hear from like my quarterly visit with you, so it's like very business orientated, because Bruce is not always the best father figure to the pseudo son and daughters that he ends up having in the Bat family and stuff. So the episode did not play out like the way I was thinking it would. The moment like the lights went out, because like Harley had this back and forth with Alfred being like, well, you kind of avoid the policy because the thing you installed was illegal. You should have looked at the fine print. And then you have Bruce over there being the spoiled kid being like, okay, a little more cheese, a little more cheese, a little more Parmesan cheese. That's actually too much. Go get a fresh new plate. We can start over. You're just like, Jesus. But then like the lights go out. Alfred gets stabbed after Harley literally said, I could kill you, Alfred. And then like the knife is in her hand. And it's like, I was like, wait, is this about to turn into like a murder mystery? Did this just turn into a Clue episode? And then it turns out no, because Bruce is like, yeah, he gets everyone else in the room after Harley, Ivy, Sean, and Frank took off and ran, because it's like, oh, Harley's so guilty and stuff like that. I love the whole thing of like, it's like, oh, who else here would have motive to kill Alfred? And Joker's kind of like, the food wasn't all that. It wasn't al dente. It wasn't like all that great. But then later on, Bruce brings everyone else in the room being like, yeah, Alfred's not dead. I checked his pulse. He does this from time to time just to kind of make me realize how terrible life would be without him. So he fakes his death. I was like, that's, I guess, once again, it's indicative of their relationship. But it's like, oh, Harley kind of ran off on her own, so we want to make sure we rectify this. Let's split up the finder before she does something crazy, which we had Bruce and Joker off on their own, eventually going to the sauna and everything. And they had a beautiful heart-to-heart, which, to be fair, it's like, let's face it, Joker is a better father than Bruce is. And because Bruce is fucking it up all around and stuff. And it's like, he doesn't know how to say sorry because he doesn't think it's going to do anything. But it's like, it'll mean the world. It's like, yeah, like, it's like, yeah, a part of, your issues with it, yes, like, your big issue isn't them, your ward, your first or second one getting murdered. But Bruce is like, no, that them being murdered plays a big role. He's like, yes, but it's like, you also didn't take any time to tell them how you really felt. I think he even made a reference to something about like, oh yeah, like I think Bruce's dad, I think Thomas had made some quote about the best type of ship to be on is an internship, and then Joker leaning in being like, oh, no wonder someone wanted to murder the guy. But yeah, like they had a father heart-to-heart in the sauna, and it was a very crucial and important thing for Bruce to better himself as a father. But like I said, Joker, as we've seen, is a better, more attentive father than Bruce is. Like, throw all the shade you want to, once again, Joker isn't just a stepfather. He's the father who stepped up, I also wasn't expecting when Sean was like, oh, I saw the actual killer. It was a skull. I was like, what the hell? I was like, well, we know the skull she keeps seeing in her dreams, her piss nightmares, as she refers to him as, which I love Ivy being like, well, that kind of ruins those snorkeling dreams I've been having. But it's like, obviously her brain is trying to remember on some level the brainiac of it all. I guess that's also why Lena isn't showing up, because she's busy working with making stuff happen with Brainiac, and probably also Well, because you would also think like showing up there would be the best well, she showed up after their brains got wiped last episode, so she knows they don't remember anything. She just hasn't. I guess no one's really remembered. It seems like except for Lois, like certain things are getting triggered in her head. I brought it up like last episode why I think Harley's reason for it not fully settling in for her, but it seems like it's also in the case of have I been calling her Lana? I hope I've been calling her Lois. If I've been calling her Lana, I do apologize. I meant Lois, which is so interesting. If I messing up and calling her Lana, considering Lena is voiced by Aisha Tyler, who voiced Lana in Archer. So like that's extra funny if I was making that mistake. But either way, I might just be crazy, and I was calling her Lois the entire time. But cover my basis of my stupidity. But either way, like that's why I was like, what could Sean have seen? I was like, it's not Brainiac. Did not expect the red X of it all. I was like, oh, that's fascinating because it's like, so we're pseudo doing the Red Hood storyline, but we're doing Red X. I don't know that storyline outside of the Teen Titans show. Like, I guess that is maybe a Dick Grayson storyline, but still interesting considering like. Spoilers, he was resurrected by the Lazarus Pit in season 3 of the Titans live action show, but he never went down, even though that was like the Red Hood storyline for Jason Todd. That never happened for Dick necessarily. So I was like, oh, that's actually fascinating to think about. But yeah, my version, like this storyline, I remember it from the original, was it 2003 is when Teen Titans started? I think it was 2003 to 2005. And maybe the Tokyo movie came out in 2006, I think. It was that, if my timeline's not wrong about that. But yeah, like that's the only like storyline I remember like Red X showing up. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. So when he showed up, I knew it was Dick. I was like, oh, you're back because of the Lazarus Pit. I'm like, did they set that up last season? Didn't someone steal his body? I don't remember. Like I could have sworn I remembered them looking in his grave and it was going. I'm blanking on some season 4 details, so do forgive me. But yeah, he came here for revenge. Against Harley. He kind of wanted to make everyone pay, but well, he also specifically, he's like, I want to have everyone turn on Harley. I want her to pay, because it's like, yeah, you murdered me. And she kind of drops that in front of everyone, but no one really bats an eye at Harley later on. She's like, to be fair, I wasn't in my right mind. I was going to kill anyone. You just happened to be the target. I'm sorry, and Bruce takes Joker's advice and he apologizes. He talks to both his sons like, I'm so sorry. I didn't get close to you. He's like, obviously a lot changed for me when I was 8. And Harley's like, I get it. We all know your parents were murdered. Can we like move this along? And, it ended up being very cathartic and ended up closing the gap between not only Dick and Bruce, but also Damian and Bruce. So that was beautiful. But then we find out Alfred's going, like, okay, did he decide that he didn't want to? Oh, he's now the macaroni. Where's this going? Oh, he's the one that resurrected Dick because he wanted to use Dick to go after the three people at the party. It was Joker, Harley, and Ivy, because for him it's like, you guys are the biggest mess makers. Like I always have to clean up so much. And I love that he went literally in order of the seasons of the tower thing in season 1 of this show for you, Joker. Harley, the whole parademon situation with Darkseid in season 2, and then the whole plant zombie situation. Not Plants vs. Zombies, but the Plant Zombie situation in season 3 with you, Ivy. And then I love Lois being like, well, what about me? I've kind of done nothing. He's like, well, I wasn't actually expecting you to be here, Lois, but because you're here, I don't know, you're stuck here with everyone else. But he also wants to pay Bruce back for everything because it's like, yeah, you've been a spoiled brat. It's like, I went to jail for you and you kind of left me to rot there. It's, a lot of pain and animosity Alfred has. And it's so interesting because the episode kind of turns into kind of the ending of Arkham Asylum because Joker takes like the Bane venom and now the macaroni, or Alfred does. Oh, because that was also the thing. Bruce thought Alfred's last name was Butler and not knowing like, oh yeah, it's Pennyworth, of course it is. So go on a rampage. everyone's working together to try and stop. I love the whole Lois thing. And she's like, I'm getting out of here. They're like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. Lois said you'll escape, getting the children out of here. She's like, right. That's totally what I was planning to do. I was like, you're an asshole, Lois. But yeah, like they, it's so interesting too, because like this condition that the macaroni or Alfred ends up at the end kind of resembles a little bit of the state Joker's end at the end of Arkham Asylum after getting beat. Like, cause his body was like massively deformed. I was like, wow, Alfred's going to jail, but they're like, we'll kind of work that out. He's got to be out of jail so he can come clean this mess up, So wow. So I was like, I guess it's forgive and forget, because we're just moving past the fact is that you finally all got revealed. Oh, Harley's the one that murdered Nightwing, but we're just kind of moving along. But then also, to be fair, it's like, oh, you helped save me when the macaroni was going to kill me, so squish my head in. So it's like, yeah, we're kind of even now. So he's moving past that. So I'm sure a lot of them are moving past that. So yeah, I was like, are you going to be so forgiving of the macaroni? It's like, it's going to be interesting. You're probably going to keep, in a very effed up way, probably keep Alfred more on a leash going forward because of this. But yeah, it's like, oh, we'll kind of forgive and forget. So some very interesting developments on that front. And then we also, have the whole situation with Lois offering Harley a job at the Daily Planet, which I love that, Lois gave us updates about it. She's like, I'm a Pulitzer winner. And she was just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of bullshit because Perry's got me working on like middle school, like theater plays and stuff, which, Perry's been replaced by Clayface. And, but yeah, like, I love that, like, the moment Lois was like, oh, you could be my assistant at the Daily Planet. And, like, I love that Ivy kind of flexes by being like, yo, my girlfriend has a PhD. Why would she choose to, even though she hasn't really flexed it and used it? I even love, like, really quickly when they were bringing up the Macaroni being like, oh, you guys are villains. And then Harley and Ivy look at each other. It's like, well, we're not really villains. It's like, but what are we? And Ivy's like, I don't like labels. It's like, both Ivy was definitely more in her villain bag these past couple of seasons versus Harley, who was in her anti-hero bag last season. The whole starting the Gotham Sirens, which was very short-lived. So, to be fair, Ivy was kind of in her anti-hero bag at that time too, I believe. So it's like, yeah, we're just kind of Harley and Ivy just doing her thing. So that's all there is to it. But obviously for Harley, it's like, yes, this is so amazing. I'm going to take this opportunity. I got something I can work on, I can work towards, and Ivy's happy for her. But Lois is like, yeah, because you're seeing the skull thing I've been doing. Like, there's something weird going on in Metropolis, and I believe you, Harley, are going to be the key to uncovering that. So that's going to be interesting. Probably going to have more stay with I think it's going to be beautifully poetic. The fact is that, and we might, because Lois has made small appearances. This is the first recurring seasons that she's been in. I think the only time I distinctly remember her popping up was like making a cameo appearance along with Superman in the Valentine's Day special in between season 3 and 4. I think that's the only time. Like, I don't think she's ever popped up previously. I don't even think she was in last season, but I could be misremembering. But especially because, like, the whole conversation was like, oh yeah, how's Superman on his sabbatical? She's like, well, that's what everyone asks. No one asked about me. And I was like, oh, how are you going? She's like, and she basically gets super pissed about everything at the Daily Planet. But it's gonna be interesting to see what that's like, especially because it's like Clayface is gonna be like, holy crap, I can't let Harley know what I'm up to. Or maybe Harley's gonna see through Clayface's bullshit. I don't know. I'm so curious to see how that plays out and what Harley is as a reporter. Once again, she continues to try and find herself and rediscover herself, find her next purpose in life. You tried it as a villain. Well, you were kind of Joker's girlfriend, and then you kind of went off, started your own crew. Then you're like Ivy's girlfriend, and you want to support her on her path, and then you want to try the whole like be a hero thing with the Bat Family. Then you went to the Gotham Sirens, and now you're just doing your thing, and now you're a reporter. So we'll see where this next leg of the journey takes Harley going forward with all of this as her and Lois work to discover this Brainiac stuff. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.